Hello, and welcome back to LEGO Custom Reviews. Today we'll be stepping away from reviewing Spider-Man figures to review a good friend of Spider-Man, Daredevil. Now, Daredevil is one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe. I just really love him. He's really just true with some of the best stories I've ever seen. Highly recommend reading some of the Daredevil comics and especially the Daredevil show. But, as I may be a fan of Daredevil the character and the show, very much not a fan of Daredevil the custom LEGO figure. Yikes. So, one thing that goes with all the custom LEGO figures that I have is that they fit together like actual LEGO figures, which is good. It's what you'd expect. It's what a good custom figure would do. They always just kind of come together the same when you build them and feel right holding them. Nothing feels wrong. That strangely doesn't apply to this one. This arm here feels particularly flimsy. It's strange, and this other arm here feels particularly stiff. It just doesn't work. It just seems so strange. The pieces, none of them seem to just fit together right, especially the legs, but that is because something that isn't really there with my other custom LEGO figures is a different leg connecting piece that just doesn't fit as well. I don't know why they used this different thing. Maybe it was licensing reasons. I don't know. It does not work. It does not work. But I digress. Now I've noticed pictures of this figure online have often shown him with his two billy clubs. But the figure I got did not come with the two billy clubs, so that definitely hurts it, that most good custom figures also come with at least something for an accessory. And even though it seems this one is supposed to, it doesn't. Now, figure-wise, just look, it is not great. Now, you can kind of see how they printed onto the forehead for the horns, which is just a terrible choice. They should have done what actual LEGO Marvel did and used the horn piece. It feels like it was made for him. And the horns here, they do not fit. They're hard to see. They don't feel to work in any meaningful way, and it just completely fails. Now, let's move on. They tried to do some kind of shadowing with him. You'll notice kind of like they seem to go with like a white for the shadowing. It absolutely failed completely. Why would they use white coloring for the shadowing? It was a horrible mistake. They did the same on the back. They used it in weird places where in many instances just doesn't fit. Like using it around the mouth here. I don't know why they would use such strange, weird, and just wrong custom, shadow printing. It's very weird. Now we also got to talk about the mouth here. The skin coloring, while not awful, is definitely wrong. It feels different. How do I put it right? It doesn't feel right like an actual LEGO figure. It feels more fake, which just doesn't work as a LEGO figure. Whatever they try to do, making it like the peach coloring, it just doesn't seem to fit with. It wouldn't fit with any actual LEGO figures, and it feels kind of like, and it feels the way the mouth is too far down on the face. It just doesn't work with it. There's a lot of empty space on the hole in the mask. The DD symbol, Daredevil's logo, also doesn't fit because they tried that terrible white shadowing. And they surrounded the whole thing on both sides with it, which just looks awful. You barely can see the actual DD beyond the shadow, and the white shadow looks terrible. So it really works terribly. Now onto those. Now the figure has a much simpler print, which is like regular Lego does often do more simplistic prints, but also something that many custom figures try to do is to just add a little bit more printing than regular Lego would to try and make themselves seem better. And this figure completely does the opposite, doing even less printing than Lego would. It has some pretty basic printing on the back. It's got nothing on the arms, nothing on the side of the chest, nothing on the back legs or the side legs, which, granted, Lego often wouldn't do that, but still, as a custom figure, it is sometimes has to hold to the standards of other custom figures in doing that. Now, to the front of the legs. There they did have some printing, but not much. You can see a belt that often, I think it's a belt, but I don't know what it's really meant to be, as I read a lot of the Daredevil comics and seen the show and the old terrible movie. I don't remember anything with that, with a white thing on his leg there. I don't know what that's meant to be. I'll say using a slightly darker shade of red for the gloves, as when compared to the rest of the arm, did work. And that's one of the compliments I'll give this figure. The coloring of the red on the main body and on the arms definitely worked. But that is really all the compliments I can give this figure. It is deeply bad figure. This would probably be my lowest review. The figure I'd kind of give the lowest score. It's just I give it a 1 star. Don't get it. Unless you're a really big Daredevil fan and don't have the money to spend on the big Daily Bugle set, which is just such an awesome set. But yeah, it's not great. Join me next time where we'll review the corresponding figure of Daredevil's arch nemesis Bullseye. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed.